Hello, world. Patricia O'Connor, Frida, Reba, Darcy, and it is about 7 o'clock on a late Saturday afternoon on the Bonsai Balcony. We had an 80-degree day today. The heat has broken. It's probably cooling off now in the 70s, mid-70s or so. It's already like I already grabbed a sweater. But what a beautiful day this was. I went through and I watered everybody on the balcony early. Not that early. It was nice because normally when I come through here in the morning, I water everything. I water everything before I go to work. And it's not necessarily based on how close to water time it is. It's that I know within a couple of hours it would be water time as the heat rises, right? And I won't be here, so I'll water. I just water before I leave. But when I have days like today, I'll look at them and I go, we can give that. We can give that an hour or so more, and it's when the temperatures come up that we hit that sweet spot in that hour or so that I notice that my little Japanese black pines really start to green up. What we're looking at here, we have a mission today too, by the way. And what we're looking at here in this part of my rail is a mixture of pine species. We're looking at ponderosas and Japanese black pines. And some of the ponderosas are single flush species. This one, this one, this one, this one, this one, kind of thick, look how I've got those guys all twisted up. So not much is going to change with them today. But some of our other species, the Japanese black pines, we have a decision to make. On some of them, we will be taking up the fertilizer today. This one looks really nice and green. And you can see its little lumps of biogold. However, we only put this little tree, good looking little tree. We only put this little tree in its bonsai pot this year. And you can see those candles being the things that are sticking straight up, and one of them is already starting to look like a sacrifice branch. But there's 1, 2, 3, depending on 3 or 4 right in there in the picture next to that one that we'll call a candle. But you know what? We just repotted this one, so we're not going to do anything. It stays just the same. We're going to leave its fertilizer down. This one back here is kind of hard to see, but they're the twins. They got repotted early this year, and they got some major twisting and stuff. We're not gonna do the candles on those. But this little guy here, this little guy right here, I just picked up. Yep. I just picked up its fertilizer. And that's critical. That's very critical to that tree's timing. I picked up the fertilizer on that one tree because it's been in a bonsai pot for over a year, which means we're working on its roots and we're controlling the amount of energy. And in 30 days from right now, I'm going to cut those elongated candles that you just saw. We will have allowed those candles to grow the maximum amount of time in candle cutting season, and then I'm going to go through and cut those guys, and then it will multiply out with it will put out a bunch of more shoots, and then we will let them all take all the energy from the tree that they can for the next couple of months. And then come fall, when the replacements have grown out as long as they can, we'll come through and cut those replacements down to a selection of 2. And I just took this little guy's food. You can see those healthy shoots all coming up. In 30 days, I'll come through and I'll cut those long ones and I'll cut those short ones. And then because we just removed the food, since we just removed them, there will not be an abundance of nutrients for it to make another rash of needles that long. But because we cut them, it'll take the one we cut and replace it. For every one we cut, it'll make 3, 4, 5, half a dozen maybe. And then when they all exchange the energy in between themselves, that will make smaller needles. And we let that happen and don't continue to feed. And then come fall, when all of our new replacement needles have all hardened off, then we'll go through and select down to 2 buds that appear to be equal in energy. This one, I just messed up. I just took the food off of it. And we potted this tree up this winter. I shouldn't have taken the food away from it, so I gave it some. Kind of hard to see me through all of this stuff, I know, but this is kind of what we got going on. This guy here. Again, I potted this guy up this year. It can maintain. This tree is a ponderosa with a little bit of heat damage still. Because it's a single flush, we will not be. This little pine that, I don't know if you can see well, I just did a major wall removal to it. I weakened it quite a bit. No needle reduction on this, so we can continue to feed it. And its food is spent. I'll probably replenish that. This one, we can remove the food from it. And we can remove the food from this one. So those little ones that I removed the food from, I will be doing candle cutting on those guys in 30 days. This is my 75-year-old, no, I'll get it right, Pat. This is my 80-year-old Japanese cork bark pine. It is on the second of a 2-year sabbatical of no needle cut. I said last year that we won't be doing candle cutting for 2 years on this tree. I will go through and clean it up like I did this past winter, which means I'll remove 3rd-year needles and stuff like that. But we're not going to do candle cutting on this. It's an older tree, and you take that on a year-by-year basis. And because of what I saw a couple of years ago, I decided it would get a couple of years off. And I'm going to stick with that. I think I probably had sense enough to make that decision when I made it. This is our literati. Just did a major restyle on this guy a little while ago. And we've done a lot of candle cutting, heavy candle cutting, and on this guy the last couple of years. And right now we're just going to let it grow out. So I will be replenishing its food. Our colander girls, none of these guys are in bonsai pots. So this little technique of food removal and then cutting the candles, it hinges, it pivots, it swings, it is wrapped around the part where we have the roots restricted. If we don't have the roots restricted, then there's abundance of energy there. Just picking up those little pieces of fertilizer wouldn't be a big enough move to make our needles shorter, which is the one of the reasons why do we do candle cutting, Pat? Well, a lot of people will say to make our needles shorter. It does, but it also makes our inner nodes shorter. It keeps our tree from elongating out so much. And if we don't do our candles, we have to think about to what degree we're going to be reeling the tree back in and stuff. So yeah, both things there. That little tree back there, you can see that little Japanese black pine. Let me see if I can do some things to make it. There. This tree. Now, we bent and folded and fed this tree. It's looking lush and healthy. It's been in that pot for over a year. I weeded it today. It was overrun by clover. Also, you can see a lot of little white flies going on. And that's because I've got a little bit of water left in the substrate and in these trays. And they're, I don't think it's for my trees, but they're hovering around that. That won't stay dry very long with the heat that we've had today and the dryness tonight. It'll probably be dry by in the morning. Anyway, that little guy won't get his candles cut because it's in a terracotta pot. It's made so many roots that taking up all of that fertilizer and letting that go 30, 45 days, there would still be an abundance of energy in those roots. And so for that reason, taking up the food and then doing a candle cut would have no effect on the needle length or the internode length. Yeah, there's an example. Or the internode length of the tree. So that's just a little quick rundown on why I am taking up the nutrients on some of our trees. These colander girls, none of those guys are in bonsai pots, so they would have an abundance. Let's see, we're not going there with it. They would have an abundance of energy, and they're not playing. So it's just our guys that are in we've taken up our nutrients on our 20-year from seed. We will be doing candle cutting on this guy. Now, today we're almost at the end of June and at almost the end of July. I'll go through and start doing our candle cutting. And that wasn't a lot. Most of our trees are not even going to get that process this year. None of our little seedlings are. And out of our trees that are in bonsai pots and getting the bonsai treatments, not all of those are going to get it. And not all of our pines will ever get this necessarily ever get any treatment like this, because a lot of these are ponderosas and they're single flush, and that is it's a completely princess. It's a completely different method to manicure those trees. All right, that's our little quick ditty on what we have to do today on a very, very beautiful. Everybody got to hang out and eat and get watered and bathe and feel good right here at the end of June on a nice warm Saturday. And then Patricia came up and took up the food on some of our multi-flush pines that are in bonsai treatment. Like and subscribe. If you guys haven't already, our next drop will be tomorrow. I'm going to do something tomorrow, Sunday. Beautiful day. Have a quick look at these bonsai trees. I think we're going to do something else, Japanese black pine related tomorrow. We're probably going to take a nice little designer bonsai pot and bring one of these lucky babies into the bonsai vortex, and that would be another guy going into a bonsai pot. I can get away with that. I can repot trees this late in the game because I live in the Bay Area, and then once we do that, that tree will also get fed, but also get a free skate on the we'll get a free skate on the candle cutting, because it will be a freshly repotted tree. It'll probably be one of these. I think we could go with just about any one of these little pretty little pines, and we grew all of these from seed, I think we could get away with growing any one of these. And you know, we could go with one of these that we've already put a little bit of motion to. But what would be the fun of that? I appreciate you. Frida appreciates you. And thank you all so much for watching. You look so good in that blue chair. You do. You just look magic.